Final Fantasy 16 is a really big game for me because while I enjoyed Final Fantasy 15 more than most, it was not well received by pretty much the entire gaming community, at least if you believe the online. And let's be honest, Final Fantasy 13 was a disappointment to most, including myself. So 16 was kind of the big revival the series kind of needed. First M-rated game in the main series, taking a darker look into a more medieval-like world with a signature Final Fantasy mythos. We were getting the newest game brought to us on the newest Sony console, the PS5. But was the wait worth it? Well, short answer is, yeah, it was. But let's get into the long answer of why.
Let's go, it's the Whitey Show. Whitey Show. Whitey Show. Whitey Show. Whitey Show.
Oh shit, he's priming.
So Clive is our main hero, and he's the shield of Rosaria, trying to protect his home, but also his little brother, who is the wielder of the Phoenix. And in this world, you are a dominant for the great summons from previous Final Fantasy games like Infert, Bahamut, Titan, and more. And the story gives us a really nice prologue to the world with Clive, and he's much younger, and it just kind of shows you where he comes from, why it's so kind of a depressing story, and then jetting us into the future to see how the world becomes after so much death and betrayal. And the thing is, one of the strongest parts of this entire game is the story. The dark tone and the plot points really help give this Attack on Titan meets Game of Thrones vibe that I absolutely love. Clive is an interesting character going through torment for his actions while trying to be a decent person. Sid is a character early on who is instantly likable, on top of Jill, who is just a kind-hearted soul that will fuck you up if you double-cross her or her friends or her family. And then you have Torgal, who is a faithful wolf and is a great addition to the party at all times. These are characters, plus many more like Joshua, who's your brother, and others who make this story so filled with so much love, betrayal, death, a little bit of happiness sprayed in there. It's just the realistic nature of how cruel this world can be, with a sense of justice from Clive to make it a better place, make for an incredibly fun journey through this universe, and easily one of the strongest points in this game, and possibly one of my favorite stories in all of the Final Fantasy franchise.
Why the hell am I still breathing?
I ask myself the same. When I fought, hundreds died. There were so many bodies, so many lives cut short in their prime.
And to go along with the story is the voice acting, which is very good. Some of the best, if not the best, of the entire franchise. At one point, I was floored from the acting from some of these characters, and other times, it made me tear up a little bit. Very well balanced on top of the excellent, and I can't stress this enough, excellent musical score. I mean, the hype music when fighting, to the beautiful, slow, melodic ones when you're walking through town. This game nailed, and I say nailed like, you know what I'm talking about when you nail something, you know what I'm saying. But the game nailed the tone and atmosphere so much, so many damn times. I was just in love with this musical score, and I'm not a big game soundtrack person, but I would listen to this just in the soundtrack in general. And as you can see, the graphics are highly impressive. I can't even showcase it really because this is just, footage that's not purely on screen, but my god, the graphics in this game, besides some maybe odd little slowdowns and cutscenes at points, the actual effects, attacks, I mean, Jesus Christ, the character models, look at them, it's mind-blowing. It's like, remember those old CGI scenes from the older Final Fantasy games? Well, I think this is better than any of that. And I also just overall love the design of almost all the characters in this game. And as I said, you get kind of this like Attack on Titans and Game of Thrones vibe, but this world definitely feels like its own, and that's something I really, really appreciated. Alright, so let's move into the combat. Now, the combat is what I like to call easy to learn, but tough to master. As someone who loves the Devil May Cry franchise, it was really nice to see the combat kind of mirror that, as the combat designer of Devil May Cry 5 did this one. And you can definitely tell. While it might not be as fluid as that, it is still extremely fun to play. And while the start of the game might feel a little light on combos and moves, by the end, all the different combos that you can pull off are just great. Overall, there's just some really good combat on display with a mix of magic, swordplay, specials, and some combos that you can do with your little doggy. But the other hand of the combat is the Titan battles, which usually happen only at bosses, and that's really a great idea because, oh my god, they are absolutely insane, especially in scope. These are some of the best I've ever seen in gaming, period. Rivaling things like God of War in both epic scale and brutal execution, these fights feel as if I'm playing an episode of Attack on Titan or playing the movie Godzilla vs. King Kong. It's just the weight and the meatiness of these hits, the whole landscape's getting wiped out, the big explosions, everything about these battles down to the excellent quick time events that are very simple to pull off, but they just add to the combat to make it feel more epic, work so well. These are, and I'm not even just exaggerating, these are probably some of the top 10 boss fights I've ever played in gaming, and as you guys know if you watched my channel before, I've been gaming a really long time. Okay, but with all that praise, we gotta talk a little bit about the negatives that held it back for me just a little bit. So, one of the big ones is the pacing of this game is a hit or miss. There are some excellent pacing moments in the story mission with exciting story beats, especially those first few hours. I just couldn't get enough. And then there's some in the second half, a little bit in the middle. But I have to say, some of the story missions very much dragged out, especially when you gotta do these side quests that feel like side quests, even though they're main missions, mostly ones that include Mid, who I like Mid as a character, didn't like her missions in this game. It very much felt like an MMO, but not good. And the side missions themselves, the actual side missions, are lacking, save maybe a couple of them. Mostly, they're extremely dull. This is not Witcher 3, I promise you that. More so than even MMOs at times, there's just very little reason to play them. They give you very little award. Mostly it's money, and you get money in abundance in this game. So why even play some of these? Because they don't give you anything special, except for a few of them, like one giving you a chocobo, or others giving you potions that give you a higher percentage of healing. Those are worth doing. Maybe look those up, but about halfway through you're going to realize these side missions just kind of suck. And also, there are a ton of cutscenes. I'm pretty sure there's over like 10 or 11 hours of cutscenes alone. Kojima would be very jealous, but there really is a ton. And while I enjoyed about 80-85% of them, there are still too many. Some unnecessary ones that you could have just taken. And last but not least, the big argument currently happening online is questioning if Final Fantasy XVI is an RPG. And while it leans definitely more into the action genre, I do believe that it is an RPG. You're playing as Clive, you're going through his journey, it feels like an epic adventure, you're leveling him up, you're giving him new moves, you're giving him new stats. This is an RPG. It does strip away, though, some big RPG features, like party management and weapon and gear is very, very streamlined. Now, I do like the streamlined feel of it, because really my main focus when playing this game was wanting to know more of the main story, so I didn't really care about the gear and stuff like other games. Now, I will say, though, I did miss party management. I'm a big fan of that. I like upgrading my party, and I like giving them new weapons and gears. That's just something I like in RPGs, and that's kind of missing here. But, you know what? This game was trying to go for something different, and things changed, and that's what it was doing. Simple as that. But really, those are my major flaws. Overall, this game really impressed me. I was excited for almost all the major story beats. The combat was a blast to me. The boss battles were extraordinary. I think Final Fantasy XVI is a redemption of sorts for fans disappointed in Final Fantasy 15 or Final Fantasy 13. You know, the thing is it perfect? No. But is it a damn fine game with a great love for the franchise while trying something new? I think so, and I'm all about trying something new. We get a lot of RPGs. If you want to play the old Final Fantasies, play the old Final Fantasies. Simple as that. Anyway, I'm going to give this an 8.5 out of 10. I think it's a great game. Maybe not quite as much enjoyable for overall for me as Final Fantasy VII Remake. I think I like that a little bit more. But the story-wise alone, I think this is top 3 for the franchise and absolutely blew me away. So I'm giving this an 8.5 out of 10. What did you guys think? Did you love this game? Did you hate this game? Do you think it's a disappointment? Do you think it's a revival for the franchise? That seems to be the big discussion right now, and I would love to see where you stand. Also, if you didn't like this game, what is your favorite Final Fantasy game, and are you looking forward to playing that? Put that below as well if you haven't played this yet. Everybody else, I hope you like this. I don't really do video game reviews that much. If I'm being honest, I'm more into the comic world now. It's just how I am. However, every once in a while, I do like to put up game-related videos. Sometimes reviews, but mostly rankings or tiers. I do still do those, and I still do enjoy them. So, if you want to stick around and get more of that, I will be here. But I hope you guys liked this review. If you did, hit the like button. If you loved it, well, hit the subscribe button and get more of me. And everybody else, enjoy some Final Fantasy today.